The grand unveiling at Aryan Tower drew New York's elite. Victoria Sterling, 28, and already CEO, stood beside the aircraft worth $200 million. Then she saw him, a janitor step 2, close to the prototype. "What are you doing?" Her voice cut through the crowd. "Touch that plane, and you're finished." The man kept his head down, wiping carefully. Victoria grabbed his collar and yanked him back. The fabric tore. Everyone saw it. A silver falcon tattoo spread across his chest. Military. Coordinates ran down his arm. Words curved along his collarbone. "For those who fly, for those who fall." Victoria froze. That symbol. The Silver Falcon. Squadron. Her father's squadron. Liam Carter lived in a small Queens apartment with his probable daughter Sophie. At 40 he measured success differently. Now the heating worked sometimes. The paint yellowed, but it was clean and it was home. "Daddy, I finished." Sophie burst out, clutching a drawing. At 7, she had his dark eyes and an infectious smile. The drawing showed an airplane with silver wings. 2 figures stood beneath it. "That's us," she said proudly. "With the silver wings like on your chest." Liam's jaw tightened. She was too young to understand what those marks meant. Too young to know her father had been someone else entirely. "It's beautiful, baby." He kissed her head. "Let's put it on the fridge." He'd been 23 when it happened. Captain Liam Carter, youngest, flight leader in Silver Falcon Squadron. History. They'd called him a prodigy. Then came the test flight in 2008. The explosion happened fast. One moment. Rescue drills. The next flames. General Robert Sterling had been in command. Liam was injured, trapped in the burning cockpit. Sterling pulled him out. Went back for the others. The plane exploded. 4 men died. Liam survived. Investigation cleared him. Equipment failure, faulty wiring. Nothing he could have prevented. But Liam knew truth that reports couldn't capture. He'd been flight leader. Those men trusted him. Sterling died, saving him. He couldn't fly after that. Not from injuries. He couldn't fly because he saw flames every time he closed his eyes. Heard Sterling's voice over the radio, calm as the aircraft tore apart. "Get Carter out first." Liam left the military. Drifted for years. Then Sophie's mother got pregnant. She left 6 months after Sophie was born, saying she hadn't signed up for a broken man. Liam took his daughter and built a small life. Worked as a janitor around New York. Modest pay, but steady. He could pick Sophie up from school, be present. The tattoos remained. The Silver Falcon across his chest. Mission coordinates down both arms. Names of the fallen etched along his ribs. He'd thought about removal, but that felt like eraser. Like dishonoring the dead. So, he kept them, hidden beneath long sleeves, and worn uniforms. Kept his head down, tried to be a good father. Then, Aryan Technologies hired him. Better pay hours that worked with Sophie's schedule. He took the job without researching the BS company. Didn't know. Aryan was founded by Sterling's widow. Didn't know the CEO was Sterling's daughter, Victoria. 11, when her father died. Didn't know until he saw her at that first meeting. She looked so much like her father. Same sharp features. Same intense eyes. Same way of carrying weight without breaking. Liam considered quitting immediately, but Sophie needed stability, health, care, a father who could provide. So he stayed, kept his distance, worked nights, when possible, stayed invisible. Victoria Sterling learned early that emotions were liabilities. She'd been 11 when military officers came to their penthouse. Her mother collapsed. Victoria stood still. Small, hands clenched and listened. General Robert Sterling died in a test flight. Explosion. Equipment failure. Heroic. Sacrifice. He'd saved one pilot before. The aircraft exploded. They never said the pilot's name. Victoria spent years wondering who had her father deemed worthy of his last moments. Did that pilot think about the daughter left behind? Her mother never recovered, retreated into pills and galas, present but absent. Victoria raised herself, studied her father's work obsessively. Aerospace engineering degree by 19, CEO by 25. She wore her father's legacy like armor. The silver falcon pendant never left her throat. Kept his squadron photo in her office maintained. Impossibly high standards perfection was the only acceptable tribute. Mistakes had consequences. Negligence cost lives. She'd built Arian into a billion-dollar empire, all while carrying her father's Wengen dumb death like a stone. 28 years old, and never allowed herself to grieve. That night, Victoria returned to the testing facility. She often worked late, finding comfort in machinery and aviation fuel. The prototype sat illuminated under harsh lights. She ran her hand along the people. Wing. This was her father's dream. Technology that saved lives, kept pilots safe, prevented tragedies like his. Movement caught her eye. The janitor, same one from earlier, wiping down the flight simulator with careful precision. Victoria watched from shadows, irritated. This was her space. Her sanctuary. What was he doing here? Then, something strange. His hand paused over a control mechanism, tilted his head, studying it. His fingers traced a pattern Victoria recognized. The FETI emergency override sequence, not something a janitor should know. Axis is off, he said quietly. Artu, real flight. There'd be vibration at Tokas. Cloud level. Victoria stepped forward. Excuse me. Liam turned. Expression. Neutral. Nothing, ma'am. Thinking out loud. You said the axis is off. Dvadra. How would you know that? I wouldn't. He picked up supplies. I apologize. Should stick to my job. No. Victoria moved closer. The engineering team had been troubleshooting that exact system for 3 days. Hadn't identified the Radarazandas specific problem yet. Who are you? Just cleaning crew, ma'am. Who are you? Really? Liam met her eyes. In harsh light, Victoria saw lines around his eyes, gray in his hair, the way he held himself perfectly still, like someone trained to endure. Liam Carter. I clean. Floors, empty trash, that's all. Carter. The name felt significant. Have we met? No, ma'am. But you know, aircraft, systems, calibration, axis alignment. Watch a lot of documentaries. As he passed under lights, his collar shifted. Victoria caught another glimpse of the Clouston silver falcon. Her hand went to her own. Pendant. Wait, she called, but he was gone, door swinging shut. Victoria stood, alone, mind racing. That tattoo, the way he'd moved around the aircraft, with unconscious familiarity, something didn't add up. She pulled out her phone, opened HR database. Liam Carter, age 40, hired 3 months ago, various janitorial positions. Before that, nothing. No college, no military, service, nothing. Victoria's fingers tightened. People didn't just appear at 23 with no history. This man was hiding, something. And Victoria Sterling had built an empire, uncovering buried truths. She would find out who Liam Carter really was. The next morning, engineering confirmed the calibration. Issue 2 degrees off. Exactly what the janitor identified. Victoria stood with Marcus, her lead engineer. How did you find it? Marcus looked uncomfortable. We didn't. Someone left an anonymous note. Paper with coordinates marked. And correction needed. Victoria's pulse quickened. Who has access to this room? Day. Dozens of people. Night. Security. And maintenance. Victoria knew who left that note. She found Liam an hour later, in the executive wing mopping marble floors. Board members stood nearby, discussing projections. Victoria walked straight up. You, she, said, voice carrying. You left that note on the simulator. Liam didn't look up. Don't know what you're talking about. Ma'am, don't lie. You identified a problem our engineers couldn't find. Left the solution anonymously. Why, ma'am? I just clean. Stop saying that. Victoria's voice rose. Bored. Members turned to stare. I don't need some washed-up pilot playing janitor to tell me how to run my company. The words hung in air. Liam's hands tightened on the mop slowly. He raised his head. You're right, he said quietly. You don't need me. He apologizes for overstepping. You think you can swagger in with your tattoos and mysterious past. And mom. Everyone turned. A small girl with dark pigtails burst through security doors, carrying a lunchbox decorated with cartoon airplanes. Sophie ran straight to Liam, wrapping arms around his waist. You forgot your fang. Lunch, Daddy. Liam's expression softened instantly. Set down the mop and knelt. Baby. You're supposed to be at school. Mrs. Patterson said I could walk it over during recess. Sophie beamed, then noticed the crowd, staring. Smile faltered. Looked up at Victoria, who stood frozen. Did I interrupt something? Victoria saw the girl's eyes so much like her father's. Saw the worn lunchbox packed with care. No. Victoria said, voice hollow. You didn't interrupt anything, but Sophie had heard the argument's tail end. Tears welled. Is my daddy in trouble? He's a good worker. He always does his best. Liam gathered Sophie into his arms. It's okay, sweetheart. Everything's fine. Looked at Victoria, over his daughter's head. In that moment, Victoria saw past the janitor's uniform. Saw the man who'd spent 17 years hiding. The father who'd sacrificed everything. The pilot who'd survived when her father hadn't. I need to take my daughter back to school, Liam said quietly. Victoria stepped back, of course, as Liam carried Sophie toward the exit. Afternoon lights streamed through windows, caught his collar, illuminating the silver falcon and coordinates. Victoria's board members resumed conversation, but Victoria couldn't move. Stared at the man walking away. Something clicked. The tattoo, the age, how he moved, the name. Carter. Captain Carter. Her father's final report mentioned that name. The pilot he saved. The flight leader who survived when Ford died. Victoria's hands shook. She'd spent 17 years hating a ghost. Now that ghost had a face, a name, a daughter who looked at him like he was her world. That night, Victoria couldn't sleep. Sat in her home office, surrounded by her father's possessions, squadron photos, flight logs, commendations. At 2 a.m., she finally opened the file she avoided for years. The official investigation into her father's death. She'd read the summary, equipment, Failure, heroic sacrifice. 4. Casualties. 1 survivor, but never the full report. Never the survivor's name. Because knowing would make it real. Now she needed to know. Victoria's hands trembled scrolling through pages. Then she found it. Survivor testimony. Captain Liam Carter, 23, flight leader. He'd been trapped in burning cockpit after explosion. General Sterling pulled him out personally. Went back for 3 trapped crew. Exploded before Sterling escaped. Victoria read Carter's words. General, Sterling ordered me clear of aircraft. I refused. Attempted re-entry to assist. Extraction. General physically restrained me. Said, "You're a father. Someday." Carter. Those men? They're my responsibility. Now go. That's an order. I complied. 17 seconds later, fuel tank exploded. General Sterling and 3 crew killed. Instantly. I should have disobeyed his order. Should have been inside that aircraft. Victoria's vision blurred. Scrolled further. Psychological. Evaluation. 3 months post-incident. Captain Carter suffers severe PTSD and survivor's guilt. Recommend medical. Discharge. Patient express persiste. The belief he should have died, instead of commanding officer. Patient's mental state incompatible with continued military service. More a letter from her father written the night before the Ronix fatal test flight. Her father's handwriting to my Silver Falcons. Tomorrow we test new rescue system. If something goes wrong, remember training. Trust your flight leader. Captain Carter, his finest pilot I've served with. If I don't make it home, no, I wouldn't change a thing. Some things worth. Ultimate sacrifice. Protecting next generation of pilots is one. Keep flying. Keep each other safe. And, Carter, if you're reading this, stop blaming yourself. That's an order you can't disobey. Signed, General Robert Sterling. Victoria pressed hand to mouth, choking back a sob. She'd been so wrong. 17 years, constructing a narrative where careless pilot caused her father's death. But there was no mistake. Just a commanding officer making split-second decision to save his youngest pilot. Her father, being exactly who he'd always been. And she'd humiliated that pilot in front of his daughter, called him washed up, treated him like trash for 3 months. Victoria picked up squadron photo, her father in center there on his right, young Liam Carter, 23, grinning with confidence, same tattoo, same Silver Falcon. Her father had arm around Carter's shoulders, proud, protective. Caption, read, Silver Falcon Squadron. Finale, deployment. General R. Sterling and Captain L. Carter. After successful rescue mission, Atlas Mountains, they'd been partners, friends. Liam Carter had carried weight of that love for 17 years, believing he should have died. Instead, Victoria grabbed her coat. Had to find him. Apologize. Tell him. She understood now. She drove to his address, modest apartment building in Queens, Treya. M. But Victoria didn't care, needed to make this right. But, reaching his apartment, she hesitated. Through thin door, she heard Sophie coughing, heard Liam's gentle voice. I know it hurts, baby. Medicine will help. Just try to sleep. This wasn't the time. His daughter was sick. He didn't need Victoria showing up with realizations and apologies. He needed to care for his child. Victoria returned to her car, sat in darkness, watching light in Liam's window. She'd wait, find the right Moment. Then fix this. Victoria appeared at Liam's apartment the next evening. Medicine and prepared food from an so.I organic market. She'd called in sick for first time in 5 years. Spent the day rehearsing what she'd say. Liam opened the door. Surprise flickered before, settling to careful neutrality. Miss Sterling. This isn't... I know who you are. Victoria interrupted. Read the report. All of it. My father's letter, your testimony, everything. Liam's jaw tightened. Then you know. I don't deserve your charity. Charity. Victoria's voice cracked. 3 months treating you like dirt. Humiliated you in front of my board. Called you washed up in front of your daughter. I am washed up exactly what you called me. No. Victoria stepped forward. You're the man my father died to save. The pilot he trusted more than anyone. I'm the reason your father is dead. Liam's voice was harsh. Don't romanticize it. If I'd been faster, better, those 4 men would be alive. My father made a choice, ordered you out of that aircraft, and I should have disobeyed. I was flight leader. Those men were my responsibility. They stood in narrow hallway, years of grief and guilt, spilling between them. Sophie appeared, behind her father, still pale, clutching a worn elephant. Daddy, why are you yelling? Liam's expression softened immediately. Sorry, baby. Didn't mean to wake you. Sophie looked past him to Victoria. You're the lady from Daddy's work. The one who was mad. Victoria knelt to Sophie's level. Yes. And I'm very sorry. I was wrong to speak to your father that way. Daddy says you're very smart. He says you build planes that save people. Victoria felt tears prick her eyes. After everything, Liam had spoken well of her. Your father is smart too. Much smarter than me. I know. He used to fly the planes before I was born. He has silver wings to prove it. Sophie pointed at her father's chest. Victoria looked up at Liam. He stood rigid, hands clenched. Your father is a hero, Victoria told Sophie gently. Did you know that he saved many people's lives? He saved me when I had nightmares, Sophie said. Always knows what to do. Cough racked through Sophie's body. Liam immediately lifted her. Need to rest, sweetheart. Looked at Victoria. You should go. This isn't the time. When is the time? Victoria asked. When can we talk? There's nothing to talk about. Your father saved me. I've lived with that 17 years. Now you know. Doesn't change anything. It changes everything. Victoria's voice rose. I've hated you. 3 months making your life hell. Because I thought you were responsible. And you just took it. What was I supposed to do? Walk up to the daughter of the man I got killed and introduced myself. You didn't get anyone killed. Equipment failed. Investigation cleared you. Investigations don't bring dead men back. Sophie coughed again. Liam's attention shifted entirely to his OD daughter. Need to get her medicine, he said. Please just go. Victoria wanted to argue, force him to hear her apology, but she saw exhaustion in his face. How? He held Sophie like she was the only thing keeping him anchored. This man had carried impossible weight 17 years. I'll go, Victoria said quietly. But I'm not giving up. We need to talk. Really talk. When Sophie's better. Liam nodded once, already turning toward his daughter's bedroom. Victoria left, medicine and food by the door, walked back to her car. Tomorrow, she'd figure about how to make this right. Honor both. Her father's sacrifice and the man he saved. Tonight, she just needed to sit with truth she'd finally uncovered. 3 days later, Victoria was giving investor presentations when fire alarm sounded. Standard protocol required evacuation, but Victoria smelled smoke. Real smoke. Testing facility, someone shouted. Something wrong with combustion test. Victoria ran. Testing facility was her domain, her responsibility. She arrived to chaos. Smoke poured from main bay. Technicians evacuated. Fire suppression systems activated. But smoke was too thick. Everyone out. Safety coordinator yelled, "Bay is clear." No. A technician grabbed Victoria's arm. There was a child. Little girl came to deliver lunch. She was in observation room when smoke started. Victoria's blood went cold. Sophie don't know her. Name, the janitor's daughter. Security went to find her, but Victoria didn't. Wait. Grabbed safety coat and ran towards smoke. Behind her, people shouted. She shoved past them all. Observation room was far side of testing bay. Sophie loved watching through those windows. Victoria had seen her there before. Smoke was thick, acrid. Victoria's eyes burned. She pulled coat over mouth and pushed forward. Then she saw him, Liam Carter, running through smoke without protective gear, without hesitation. He moved with precision of someone trained for exactly this. Disappeared into observation room. Victoria followed. Sophie was huddled under desk, coughing. Liam was already there, wrapping her in his jacket. Lifted her into his arms, then saw Victoria. "What are you doing here?" he shouted over. "Alarm. Get out. Not without you." Smoke was getting worse. Liam looked around, calculating exits. Victoria saw his military training take over. Transformation from cautious janitor to decisive flight leader. This way, Liam moved towards service exit. Victoria hadn't known existed. She followed, keeping hand on his shoulder. Lungs burned. Sophie's small face pressed against father's chest. They burst through service exit into fresh air. Paramedics rushed forward. Liam handed Sophie to them, then bent double, coughing. His jacket had been torn. Shirt hung open. In bright sunlight, everyone could see full extent of tattoos. Silver falcon spread across chest. Coordinates ran down both arms, names etched along ribs. Words curved around. Collarbone, for those who fly, for those who fall. Victoria's executive team had gathered outside. Board members, investors. Everyone stared at the janitor who'd just run through smoke, stared at military insignia, marking him as something entirely different. Marcus, lead engineer, stepped forward. Face gone pale. "Captain Carter," he said, uncertainly. "Is that really you?" Liam looked up, still struggling for breath. "Do I know you?" "Atlas Mountains Rescue. Mission 2007. You pulled my brother out of crashed helicopter. Journalist embedded with your unit." Marcus's voice shook. "We were told you died in same accident that killed General Sterling. I didn't Liam straightened, aware of eyes on him. Just stopped flying. Victoria stepped forward, still coughing, suit covered in soot, but her voice was clear. "This man," she said to gathered crowd, "is not just a janitor. He's Captain Liam Carter, former flight leader of Silver Falcon Squadron. He served with my father. Today, he saved his daughter's life with same courage my father died protecting," crowd murmured. Liam was first to react when smoke started. Had known instinctively where Sophie would be. Moved through building as if he'd spent years memorizing emergency protocols. Because he had Victoria. Liam's voice was quiet. "You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Victoria turned to face him fully, eyes red from smoke, but gazed steady. You've been invisible. Try months. Let people treat you as if you're nothing. I'm done pretending. That's acceptable. She reached up, touched Silver Falcon on his chest, fingers traced outline of wings, matching pendant she wore. My father gave his life so you could have this moment. So, you could run through smoke to save your daughter. Don't dishonor his sacrifice by hiding anymore. Liam's expression cracked. First time since Victoria knew him. She saw real emotion break through. Your father died because of me. He whispered. How can you stand to look at me? My father died for you. Victoria corrected gently. There's a difference. Today I finally understand what he saw. Why you were worth saving. Paramedics, declared Sophie stable. Minor smoke. Inhalation. She sat wrapped in blanket, looking small and scared. Victoria walked over, knelt beside her. You're very brave, Victoria told the little girl. Just like your father. Sophie looked at Victoria with wide eyes. Are you still mad at Daddy? No, sweetheart. I'm grateful for. What? For getting to know both of you. Victoria glanced at Liam. Your father is special, Sophie. I hope you know that. I know. He's my hero. Sophie smiled. Will he get in trouble? No. In fact, I think it's time your father got a new job. One that actually uses his skills. Days following incident, Victoria faced fierce opposition from board directors. They met in conference room with Manhattan views, and they tore into her. Decision without mercy. You're compromising this company's reputation. Richard Mallory said he'd been on the board since before Victoria was born. Promoting janitor to director of aviation safety. Absurd. He's not just a janitor, Victoria replied calmly. He's decorated military pilot with more experience than half our staff. He's been lying about identity 3 months. Another board member interjected. How can we trust him? He wasn't lying. He was surviving. Victoria stood placing. Hands on table. Liam Carter saved my people. Life 2 days ago. Identified critical flaw our engineers missed. He has knowledge this company desperately needs. This is about your father, Mallory said bluntly. You're making emotional decision. Yes. Victoria. Agreed. I am. My father died. Believing in Liam Carter. Believing he was worth saving. I'm not going to dishonor that by treating him as disposable. Shareholders won't accept this then. I'll buy them out. Victoria's voice turned to steel. I have controlling interest, and I'm using it. Effective. Immediately. Liam Carter is our director of aviation safety. Anyone with problem can bring it to me personally. She walked out to stunned silence. That evening, news outlets picked up the story. Viral video showed moment Liam's tattoos were revealed. Shows. Way. Victoria touched Silver Falcon on his chest. Social media exploded. CO honors father's sacrifice by saving man. He died protecting. Victoria didn't care about publicity. She cared about making things right. She found Liam in hospital, sitting beside Sophie's bed. Little girl was sleeping peacefully. They're releasing her tomorrow, Liam said, without looking up. Full recovery. I'm glad. Victoria pulled up chair. Wanted to talk about something. If it's about job offer, I can't accept it. Why not? Because I'm not that person anymore. Victoria, not Captain Carter, just a father trying to get by. You ran through smoke without hesitation. Knew exactly where your daughter would be. That's not just father's instinct. That's training. That's who you are. Liam finally looked at her. I can't go back. Spent 17 years trying to be someone else. I'm not asking you to go back. Move forward. Use your skills to make aircraft safer. Prevent what happened to my father. Victoria leaned forward. You said you owe him. This is how you pay that debt. Not by hiding. By doing what he trained you to do. Protecting people. Liam was quiet, looked at his daughter sleeping, then back at Victoria. What about the board? I told board they could accept you or resign. Victoria smiled slightly. My father left me controlling interest for a reason. I'm finally using it the way he would have wanted. End of T. End quote. Your father would be proud of you, Liam said, quietly. I hope he'd be proud of both of us for finally figuring out how to move forward. Liam extended his hand. Victoria took it. They shook, sealing agreement that went beyond business, that acknowledged shared grief, shared history, and beginning of something neither expected. Understanding. Maybe even healing press conference was Victoria's idea. She held it in testing facility. Silver Falcon, DOS prototype as backdrop. Liam stood beside her, improperly fitting suit. Sophie sat front row, beaming. 17 years ago. Victoria began voice carrying. Clearly. My father, General Robert Sterling, died in test flight accident, trying to save his crew. He succeeded in rescuing one man, Captain Liam Carter. For years, I believed that man was responsible for my father's death. I was wrong. Cameras flashed. Reporters scribbled. Victoria continued. Captain Carter was the flight leader. My father trusted more than anyone. Exploded. My father made a choice. He chose to save his youngest pilot. Give that pilot chance to live. To be a father. To continue serving. Today, I'm honored to announce Captain Carter is joining Ariane Technologies as Director of Aviation Safety. His experience will help prevent tragedies like the one that took my father's life. Reporter raised hand. Miss Sterling, critics say, you're making this decision based on emotion. Victoria's smile was sharp. My father died, believing Liam Carter was worth saving. I trust my father's judgment. Anyone who questions that can review Captain Carter's military record. It speaks for itself. Another reporter, Captain Carter. Why spend 17 years as janitor? Instead of using aviation expertise, Liam stepped forward. I left military because I couldn't fly anymore. Without seeing faces of men I'd lost, thought best thing I could do was disappear. Be a father. Stay invisible. Miss Sterling showed me that hiding doesn't honor people we've lost. It just wastes the life they sacrificed to save. Do you blame yourself for General Sterling's death? Question hung in air. Liam glanced at Victoria. She nodded. Yes. Liam said honestly. I've blamed myself every day for 17 years, but I'm learning that blame doesn't bring anyone back. General made a choice. Saved my life. Best way I can honor that is by using the life he gave me, being the kind of man he believed I could be. Sophie jumped from her seat, ran to her father, hugging his waist. Cameras captured the moment. 7-year-old girl, clinging to her father while he talked about second chances. I'm proud of you, Daddy, Sophie said clearly. Liam lifted her into his arms. I'm proud of you, too, baby. Victoria felt tears. She touched Silver Falcon pendant. First time in 17 years. It didn't feel like weight. It felt like what it had always been meant to be. A symbol of courage, of sacrifice, of bond. between people who flew together. 1 year later, Ariane Technologies unveiled Silver Falcon 2, most advanced rescue aircraft ever built, incorporating safety features Liam designed based on lessons from his father's accident. Victoria stood at unveiling with Liam beside her, watching as prototype's wings caught light. Sophie ran around testing facility in junior. Engineer's jacket Victoria had given her. Little girl still drew airplanes, constantly, but now she drew 3 figures beneath silver wings. Her father, Victoria, and herself. Family formed from tragedy and healing. Do you think he'd approve? Liam asked quietly. Your father. I know he would. Victoria turned to him. You've designed system that will save countless lives. You've honored his sacrifice better than any memorial could. We honored it. Liam corrected. You gave me chance to do this. You gave me chance to understand what my father really died for. Not just to save one pilot. To preserve hope. Prove good men make sacrifices worth honoring. Victoria smiled. Thank you for that. They stood in comfortable silence, watching Sophie trace fingers along aircraft's wing. Little girl hummed, softly, completely at peace. She wants to be a pilot, Liam said. Like her grandfather. Victoria's breath caught. Grandfather? Your father saved my life, which means he gave Sophie hers, too. I think that makes him family. Victoria couldn't speak. She nodded, blinking back tears. Yes, that makes him family. Then maybe someday Sophie can carry on Silver Falcon legacy the right way without weight of guilt and grief. I'd like that. Victoria watched little girl, imagining future where Sophie Carter flew planes, her father designed, and Victoria's company built. Future, where General Sterling's sacrifice continued rippling forward. Liam's office was adjacent to Victoria's now. They worked together daily, translating his field experience into engineering solutions. They had lunch together, sometimes, usually with Sophie between them. They weren't just colleagues. They were something more, bonded by shared loss, by the man who'd connected them. Across years of pain, anniversary of her father's death arrived. Victoria had always spent that day alone. This year, she wasn't alone. Liam and Sophie came with her. They stood together at General Sterling's headstone. Sophie placed a plaque, drawing at stone's base. It showed Silver Falcon 2 with 3 people, holding hands. Is this my grandfather? Sophie asked. Victoria knelt beside her. Yes, sweetheart. He would have loved you very much. Daddy says he was a hero. He was the best kind. The kind who saved people. Sophie considered this then, touched Silver Falcon pendant Victoria always wore. You have wings too, just like Daddy. That's right. Your grandfather gave us both wings in different ways. They stayed for an hour, Victoria telling stories about her. To father, Liam added his own memories. Together, they built picture of General Sterling fuller than either could manage. Alone. A man who'd been stern but loving, demanding but fair, courageous but not reckless. Someone who understood. That point of being strong was to protect those who weren't. When they left cemetery, Sophie held both adults, hands swinging between them. Victoria looked across little girl's head at Liam. Something had shifted in his expression over past year. Haunted look had faded. Guilt hadn't disappeared, but transformed into purpose. Thank you, Victoria said, for letting me be part of this, part of your family. You've always been part of it, Liam replied. From the moment your father saved my life, we were connected. We just didn't know it. Yet. At Silver Falcon Doe's unveiling ceremony, Victoria stepped to podium in front of industry leaders, military, officials, and press. Liam stood to her, right in director's uniform. Sophie sat, front row, fidgeting with excitement. 2 years ago, Victoria began. I thought I knew everything about loss, about sacrifice, about carrying forward a legacy. I was wrong. Loss isn't something you carry. It's something you transform. My father, General Robert Sterling, died, believing in future of aviation safety, believing one pilot's life was worth his sacrifice. Today, we honor that belief with Silver Falcon 2, an aircraft designed to bring everyone home safely. She gestured to Liam. This aircraft was designed by Captain Liam Carter, the man my father died to save, the man who spent 17 years believing he didn't deserve that sacrifice. Captain Carter has taken his guilt and transformed it into purpose. Every safety feature on this aircraft comes from lessons learned in tragedy, from determination that no one else should experience what we've experienced. Prototype gleamed behind them, wings caught light, reflecting, silver against sky. Victoria continued, "This isn't just aircraft. It's a promise that we will never stop working to bring people home safely. That sacrifice will never be wasted. That love, even in its most painful forms, creates something lasting." She turned to Liam. "Captain Carter, would you do the honors?" Liam stood visibly moved, walked to control panel, and entered activation sequence. Silver Falcon DOS's engines hummed to life. Wings extended in display of engineering excellence. Crowd applauded. But Victoria wasn't watching aircraft. She was watching Liam's face. Watching Wei, his expression shifted from pain to pride. Watching a man who'd been sozen, broken, finally accept that he was whole. After ceremony, they held private moment in hangar. Just Victoria, Liam, and Sophie. Little girl ran her hands over aircraft's nose where small silver falcon had been painted. Same design, marking both her father's chest and Victoria's pendant. "Can I fly it someday?" Sophie asked. "Someday?" Liam promised. "When you're older, when you've trained and learned everything you need to know, will you teach me?" "We'll teach you together," Victoria said. "Your father and I will make sure you know everything about flying, about safety, about why this matters." Sophie beamed, looked between two adults who'd become her family. "I love you both," she said, simply. Victoria's breath caught. She knelt and hugged. "Little girl, I love you too, Sophie." When she stood, Liam was watching her with expressions she couldn't quite read. Something warm, something grateful, something that felt like beginning of understanding that they'd built something together. Not just aircraft, but family formed from fragments of loss and pieces of hope. That evening, Victoria and Liam stood alone on an observation deck overlooking testing facility. Silver Falcon Does sat below them, testament to everything they'd overcome. "I never thanked you properly," Liam said quietly. "Life. For seeing past janitor's uniform. You never needed to thank me. I was just correcting a mistake." Victoria touched Silver Falcon at her throat. "My father saw something in you worth dying for. Took me too long to see it too. But I see it now. I see exactly why he made that choice." Liam stepped closer in dim light. His tattoos were visible, coordinates, names, permanent reminder of everyone he'd lost. Your father used to say that point of wings wasn't just to fly. It was to lift others up, carry people to safety when they couldn't get there alone. That sounds like him. I think he'd be proud of us, of what we've built, how we found each other through all that grief and anger. 2. Victoria turned to face him fully. They stood close enough that she could see silver threads in his hair, lines around eyes that spoke of years carrying weight. Liam. Yes. I'm glad you survived. I'm glad my father saved you. Not just because of aircraft or company, but because you're a good man, the kind of man worth saving. Liam's eyes shone with emotion. Victoria, I wait. She touched his chest, feeling outline of silver falcon beneath fabric. My father told me once when I was little that if I ever met someone wearing silver falcon, I should trust them. He said those wings meant more than rank. They meant character. Your father was generous with his faith. No, he was right about you, about everything. Victoria looked up at him. I trust you, Liam Carter. Not just as colleague, not just as director. I trust you with my father's legacy, with this company, with Sophie's future, with my heart. Words hung between them. Liam reached up and covered her hand with his. I never thought I'd feel this way again. Never thought I deserved to. But you've given me something I lost 17 years ago. Hope, purpose, a reason to believe that moving forward doesn't mean forgetting what we've lost. What are you saying? I'm saying I love you, Victoria. Sterling, I love your strength, your compassion, the way you transformed your grief into something beautiful. The way you've loved my daughter as if she were your own. Victoria felt tears slip free. I love you too. I love how you've risen from ashes. How you've taken worst moment of your life and turned it into protection for others. How you've shown me that forgiveness isn't weakness. It's the bravest thing we can do. Liam leaned down. Their foreheads touched. Your father brought us together through tragedy and time, through guilt and grief. I think he'd be happy about this. I know he would be. He always said, Silver Falcon wasn't just about flying. It was about finding your way home. I think we've both finally found our way home. They kissed then, soft and gentle, a beginning born from endings around to them. Testing facility hummed with quiet machinery. Below them, Silver Falcon 2 waited for first flight. And somewhere, Victoria thought, her father was smiling, proud of daughter who'd learned to forgive, proud of pilot who'd learned to live, proud of family they'd built from pieces he'd left behind when they pulled apart. Sophie was standing in doorway. She'd been watching with wisdom children sometimes possess, understanding that something important was happening. Are you two going to get married? Sophie asked bluntly. Liam laughed. Victoria blushed. Maybe. Someday, Victoria said. Would that be okay with you? Sophie pretended to consider seriously, then grinned. Only if I can be flower, girl. And only if I get to wear wings, silver ones like yours and Daddy's. Deal, Victoria said, laughing through tears. She opened her arms, and Sophie ran into them. Liam wrapped his arms around both of them. They stood, together, three people who'd found each other through loss and learned to build something beautiful from grief. Outside, snow began to fall. It caught light from testing facility, creating patterns that looked almost like wings, silver wings spreading across New York. Sky, a reminder that some sacrifices create ripples that never end. That love, even when it costs everything, leaves something permanent behind. General Robert Sterling had died, believing in the future. In pilot, he saved. In daughter, he left behind. And now, 17 years later, that belief had blossomed into something he could never have imagined. A family, a company, transformed, an aircraft that would save countless lives. His silver falcon had finally come.